Hello there and welcome to another quick video from, well, I say quick, as Gabriel Derop says, ends up being about 4 hours, but welcome to another quick video from myself, Steve-O, just responding in video format as I always do to commenters and just about the wildcard that I've done, etc, etc, and I've just quickly gone through some realistic player predictions, as I like to do, and normally within reason get it within 2 or 3 points, give or take. Obviously, when you do player predictions, it is quite difficult to correctly predict the outcome of double-digit hauls, as a simple example. But, you know, one double-digit haul this weekend I'm expecting is Haaland. I genuinely do think that Haaland could be scoring a hat-trick this week. I think Fulham are there for the taking. I think Haaland, well, again, based on highlights, looked really frustrated with himself that he wasn't putting away those so-called simple chances. So I think that really I've genuinely predicted Haaland to get a hat-trick this week, and someone actually messaged me on Discord and said I'm thinking of triple captain in Haaland Saturday, and I'm thinking genuinely go for it. I think if there's any time to do it, do it. I mean, it's ironic because whether you're aware or not, Nathan Bacon has decided to attack this particular season by having fun. And he has deliberately been using every single one of his chips on each game week. But then when it comes to game week 4, this game week, he's decided, I'm not going to use the triple captaincy. And when I saw that video, I was like, hold on a minute, mate. The 1 week that is probably ideal to be using a triple captaincy on a player, i.e. Haaland, is probably this week, ironically. Because I remember calling it, wasn't it last week? Sorry, last season, I said on a video, I think it may have been a members video, I said, look, if there's ever a week to triple captain in a single game week, it's this week on Haaland. And someone actually took my advice, and I think he got 2 goals. So you've got 2 goals as a triple captain. Then everybody triple captain in a double game week. How many goals did he get? 1. And this person came to me and generally said, I just want to say thanks for telling me to triple captain back in, I'm making this up now, back in game week 19. Because actually that pushed me up to here. Whereas all the people now that used Haaland as a triple captaincy this week didn't return. Or returned 1 goal. Obviously, he got a second appearance points, but whatever. And I generally think if you've got the cojones to have fun with this game and just not take it too seriously, I think hit the triple captaincy this week. Because like I say, I do expect Haaland to get a double-digit haul this week, but I'm just going to say a hat-trick. I'm going through my player predictions. Have I made a boo-boo by hitting the wild card too early? Well, as I explained in the video yesterday, the reason why I did it is because there are certain players that I'm going to be priced out of. And certain players I don't want to be going up any higher because I just don't think they're worth that price if they go any higher. For argument's sake, Mbeumo at 7 million. Just as a simple example. So I want to kind of get them while they're relatively cheapish. And I went through my predictions, and unfortunately, I've come out about as breaking even as possible. So you take this week as a simple example. My original team, I've gone with getting 57 points. This wildcard team, I've gone with 62. So a whopping 5 points difference. Game week 5 for the differentials, so there's 5 differentials. I've said that my old team, the differentials would get 25 points between them, whereas my new players, because I'd swap, for argument's sake, Antonio out for Isaac, I've gone with 30. But then by game week 7, or game week 6, sorry, I've said my original would get 23 points and my new would only get 19, which totals up to my new team 49 points the old players 48. We're virtually breaking even here. And like I say, I look at certain teams, certain players, certain points that they averagely would get and stuff, and I realistically look at it and go, right then, this player is probably going to do this player is going to do that, depending on the opposition and so on and so forth. And I think I've played it right in the sense of making sure I get those price rises, getting in the players that I kind of see that have got good potential of doing really well over the next few game weeks compared to the players I've already got, despite the fact of what I've just said. I'll give you a simple example. In game week 7 at 6. No, game week 7. No, game week 6. Bloody hell. In game week 6, I'll give you an example of a player who I expect potentially to get potentially a double digit haul is Estupinan. So Estupinan in game week 6, I believe he's got Bournemouth at home. I'm just going to quickly check because of course I haven't loaded up the bloody website, have I? Why would I? So that's just a simple example of a player who I potentially see getting a double digit haul in a game week. Yeah, he's against Bournemouth. So there's a possibility that he gets a double digit haul versus Bournemouth. But versus Man United and Newcastle, as a very, very simple example, I don't see Estupinan getting anything more than just 2 points. Okay, is there a possibility that he could score or assist in those 2 games? Yes, but realistically, I expect both Newcastle and Man United to score against Brighton, and I don't envisage Estupinan getting any attacking returns whatsoever. Just as a basic, simple example. And I know there'll be someone thinking in their head, no, he's going to score. He's going to get at least 10 points per game. What did he do last week against West Ham? So, yeah, I'm still happy with the fact that I've hit the wildcard. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? I think getting rid of, Onana for Vicario, I think overall, over the next several fixtures, I think Tottenham have got the better fixtures. And Jason doesn't even have faith in Man United, and he's a Man United fan. So I don't particularly have much faith in Man United at the moment. They're all over the shop. And as I stated the other day, I think that they need the international break to come sooner than ever. Just to reassess, reevaluate and reset, basically. Whereas Tottenham, albeit they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup last night, I think that this new manager has come in and they've actually done really, really well to come away with the results that they have done. And I think that they're a team genuinely to be looking at. They got some brilliant assets there, apart from Richarlison, who ironically scored last night. Of course he did. But they've got some brilliant assets there. So I would say, if you are wildcarding, you need, as I've already stated all along, you need a minimum of 2. I think with the likes of Udogie versus Estupinan, they're about as equal as one another, but I just see more of an upside to Udogie than I do Estupinan. You've then got Rashford versus Maddison. I think they're both equal. The only difference is that Rashford is playing in a Man United team where they just lack any form of confidence at the moment. Without going over it, they just are all over the place. Whereas Maddison is the Kevin De Bruyne of that team. You've then got Martinelli versus Mbeumo. Yeah, I would put Martinelli ahead. I really would. But the fixtures for Martinelli, despite the fact that I expect Martinelli to probably outshine Mbeumo, Mbeumo's fixtures are actually really, really nice coming up. You've got the likes of Jackson versus Isaac / Antonio / Watkins. Now, I've just gone down the route of potentially doing Antonio in for Jackson this week, attack that Luton fixture, then do the next transfer of Isaac in for Antonio, and then attack the Newcastle fixtures. I think that potentially could be a really good plan, because, as I stated, I don't see Jackson doing anything versus Nottingham Forest. I think Nottingham Forest are good enough to bully Jackson and not allow him any space whatsoever. Whereas Antonio, you know what he brings. He's basically a bulldozer. He's the focal point of West Ham, and essentially Luton are there within reason, there for the taking. So I do expect Antonio to score this week, basically. I think they're virtually equal, Jackson and Antonio, to be honest with you. But I think that potentially there's more upside for this specific game week owning Antonio. And then when you look at Newcastle's fixtures as an example of moving forward after that, they've got the likes of, so if we look here, Brighton away, obviously I missed that, but then they've got Brentford at home, Sheffield United away, Burnley at home. 3 really nice fixtures after that. Really, really nice fixtures. And the way Newcastle are at the moment, I think that there will be a team in there that gets an absolute battering, and unfortunately I think it will be Burnley. I generally do think that there is going to be a team there which is going to take an absolute hammering, and unfortunately I do think it will be us on Saturday, September the 30th. I think we're going to get destroyed. I could envisage Newcastle scoring 4, maybe 5 goals if we do not sort ourselves out. So, whereas with Watkins as an example, yes, can he do damage to various teams? Of course he can. Liverpool away, their history is terrible. Crystal Palace at home isn't going to be easy. Again, 1-0, 2-0 to Aston Villa. Chelsea away. Ironically, that's when I do see Ollie Watkins potentially doing quite well against Chelsea. Brighton at home. Again, 2-1 either way. Wolves away. I mean, we're talking now by this point October the 7th, so we're a very, very long way away. I think Watkins can be assessed. I think, like with Jackson, like with Watkins, I think this particular game week 4, is a week in which myself, Jason, you watching this, can ask yourself serious questions as to whether, right then, Jackson has blanked again, whereas Watkins has gone and got a goal against Liverpool in a 1-1 draw. It won't be a 1-1 draw. In a 1-1 draw he scored. And he looked hungry. And then you're thinking, right then, let's monitor Watkins, shall we, versus Jackson the following week. Jackson away at Bournemouth. I would expect him to then score, because I think Bournemouth will allow Chelsea to play a bit. Well, Aston Villa at home to Crystal Palace. Again, they're not a team that Ollie Watkins is going to enjoy playing against. Like I said, 1 or 2-0. It's going to require some pinpoint accuracy shooting to get past that Crystal Palace defence. And again, you know, as a probability of Ollie Watkins scoring, yeah, again, you may predict it, but I think that you're looking at Jackson and Watkins in those 2 battles there, and I'd expect Jackson to outperform Ollie Watkins. And then by game week 6, it's the pair of them against each other. Well, easily I would expect Watkins to outshine Jackson, but in that time, you've got, without wanting to repeat myself, Isaac away at Sheffield United in game week 6. In game week 5, he's at home to Brentford. And then this week, which I won't be having him, they're away at Brighton. So this specific game week could be the week for me. And like I said, for anybody that listens to this nonsense and for anybody that wants to realistically look at it, go, right then, I can take a punt on... I'm just going to use Antonio. I'm going to take a punt on Antonio. And then let's see how Jackson does against Nottingham Forest. Let's see how Ollie Watkins does against Liverpool, and Isaac versus Brighton. Once we come to a conclusion via that, you can probably get a general idea of what they're going to be like versus the other teams, to be honest with you. Because that Liverpool fixture, whether you like it or not, it's at Anfield. It's going to be tough. And Liverpool do like playing Aston Villa. So if Liverpool were to win 2 or 3-1, and Aston Villa are humbled, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, I'm glad I kind of avoided Watkins. Yes, could Watkins score that one goal? Probably. Possibly. But... And then with Brighton again, how did Newcastle do? Well, they won, and Isaac looked really, really lively. He got a goal versus Brighton. He looked really, really good. And it's the same with what's his face, Jackson. How does he look against Nottingham Forest? Is he doing his usual thing of just trying to make the key direct runs, etc., but really just looking like a headless chicken? So, I think going on what, and I will name check them in 2 seconds, said, I think that I could be doing the Antonio just to attack that one game, and then Isaac in. So just quickly going through the comments on this specific video. Quite a few, to be fair. Alex Volo getting a lot of love, which is good. I did ask him just to do a quick thumbnail for the video, and he kindly did so. And that's what I wanted to say. I was watching FPL Juice last night, and it really does inspire you to do content. You know, Nick is a very good host, and like with any partnership, you've got to have two completely opposite ends of the scale. So with Nick and Ash, you've got this very loud individual in Ash, whereas Nick's calm and collated. Same with me and Jason. You've got me, Mr. Angry, whereas you've got Jason that's Mr. Hyperactive and you know, Mr. Calm. How can you be hyperactive and calm at the same time? Just watch Jason on the streams when it comes to 3 PMs. You get the highs and then you get the lows. Whereas with me, it's just... So, when watching it, I'm just like, this is just genuinely just really inspiring to do content. And I saw, when I was watching the stream, they occasionally put up comments. And they were talking about something, and Hindu Monkey was mentioning this whole thing about, oh, here we go, Sterling versus Maddison, and God almighty, like. And then, as I've noticed this week on Twitter, every single large content creator it's virtually word for word copy and paste posts and videos of Sterling versus Maddison. Oh God. You know, again, I get it, but there's no originality out there. Whereas, like with FPL Juice, there is originality, and it really does genuinely inspire me to do content for you guys. Obviously, I'd rather be doing it with Jason, but you know, this is just in my own time right now. I'm just chatting absolute nonsense at 7 minutes past 9 in the morning. Jason ain't going to be doing a stream with me now. So anyway, Jonathan Mahoney said he's played his wild card on Saturday, so he hit his wild card on Saturday. Adam S saying wild card and there's no Villa players, aka the second most goals scored in the league. That's shocking. This is a disgrace. After also 2 Spurs defenders. This is a complete knee jerk over game week 4. Clean sheet against a pub team. Overall, I give your wild card team a 6.9 out of 10. So not a 6, not a 6.5, not a 7, a 6.9 out of 10. So nearly 7 out of 10. So actually, pretty much saying you like it. But if I had Ollie Watkins in there or Diaby, it would be a 10 out of 10. Again, it's just the biasness of individuals. Would I like Diaby in my team? Within reason, yeah. But I think, again, I can just hold off him for a while. And Tekker's saying, I listened to Trigger Lips' podcast as well. I haven't wildcarded because I think my team is fairly good, but he made some really good points. Yeah. Again, he, Nathan Bacon and Jason and Dan, the 4 of those guys pretty much inspired me to hit my wildcard because of the things that they were saying. Also Booner as well, because Booner's hit the wildcard as well, and he was making the point, look, I need to make 5 or 6 changes. Do I hit the wildcard? It's like, yeah. If you think it improves your team or makes it slightly better, do it. And he's done it. Tekker's saying, who was the player you would have transferred in this week? You checked? No, I wouldn't have done any transfers this week. I was just going to keep the team as it was. Calvin saying, I got 6 of the same players as you on my wild card as well. Didn't like my old team going forward. I felt it was time to get it gone. John Harris saying, do I keep Salah or not? Do I sell Salah decision this week? Is a massive headache. I knew it was coming. So interesting enough, PK7 sent me a message saying that, oh, I read an article today from The Athletic pretty much backing up what you and Jason have said about Salah being more of the assister. And yeah, that's what you're going to get from Salah. You're going to get lots and lots of creation from him. Yes, will he score? Of course he bloody will. But I think he's got more of a higher chance of getting you more assists than he is going to be goals. That's why I think this season, do I expect him to, in the Premier League, do I still expect him to get a minimum of 10 goals? Yeah, but I think that he will get a lot more assists this season. So let's just say, for argument's sake, a number out the top of my head, 15 assists, 10 goals, as a simple example. Tom Stainer saying, awesome wildcard. The only pick I'd swap is Walker. You never know with Pep, but if you want him, go for it. As I replied, I just think that it would appear that Walker does seem to be the nailed defender, and also Luke Disable on Twitter pretty much has him as an individual who should be starting for now anyway on a regular basis. Jacko saying, do you think as a content creator you're thinking about your team so much you're more inclined to have an impact on it? No, I can assure you now, I've said this 50 billion times. What is a content creator? Well, obviously it's somebody that produces content for whether it's podcasting or YouTube or whatever means, OnlyFans, any means for the public or anybody to consume. And for me and Jason, if I want to do a video like this, I just go record, chat nonsense for half an hour, done. And if anybody wants to consume it, they consume it. If they don't, they don't. It's like down below here regarding my 6.9 out of 10. Nuisance saying here, I don't think he cares about your opinion on his team. Focus on yours, mate. Now, if for argument's sake there was constructive criticism about my team, or whether it's regarding something where someone's got information like just to let you know they've brought in this player, which means that he's not guaranteed to start, fine. But as Nuisance says, it's, again, just focus on your own team. you know, we'll get to Natasha's comment in a minute. I know it was all tongue-in-cheek, but we'll get to it in a minute. And it's just a simple case of, look, don't worry about it. Okay, you're offended by the fact that me or Jason or whoever doesn't own Aston Villa players because you support Aston Villa, but that's your bias towards your own team. I've watched Aston Villa. Am I that particularly impressed by them? They're all right. Do I expect them to do very well this year? Yes. But that game against Everton, they're okay. They scored 4 goals, granted, but it's because Everton are terrible. And when it comes to thinking about my team so much, I really don't think about it other than when I'm consuming. Like I said, this is with like FPL Juice. Once I watch another FPL content creator or whatnot, I personally get inspired to do our own content. Yeah, do I want to message Jason and say, do you fancy streaming? Yeah, but I know for a fact he's not available at these times. So, and I'm not going to be putting pressure on Alex Volo to be constantly creating thumbnails for just impromptu streams constantly. Don't want to do that. I want to stick to our plan of the 3-4 streams that we do each week, and then if Jason wants to do an impromptu stream / video, he can do, and vice versa. Whereas with a lot of people that have it as a job / take this hobby seriously, which just reminded me of something that I spoke to Dan about, reality is that they're just all just copy and paste videos, and it's just the same thing over and over and over, and it's done for you. It's not done for them, it's done for you. Things like this, things like what Trigger Lips does, it's just an idiot behind a camera talking out their thoughts and what they're wanting to do with their team or what they are doing with their team. The people, like the big content creators, as you know, their niche is Sterling versus Maddison. Let's have a look at them. If you want to watch it, you watch it. It's all clean cut and it's all perfectly edited together. Brilliant. Yes. Are they just literally talking nonsense into a camera like me? Yeah. But all they're doing is just talking about 2 specific players. That's it. But they're advising you what to think about. That's it. They already know what they're doing. I already saw a tweet the other day from somebody. I'm actually thinking of bringing in Maddison. But don't worry, all this week they've been saying, on videos, do I do Sterling or Maddison? Well, you've already made the decision already. I'm torn considering Mr. Christian Baker saying, I'm torn considering the wildcard, waiting until week 10 or so, seems near. Brighton and West Ham have good fixtures from those weeks onwards, but you can easily tweak week by week. And this is the thing, you can easily tweak week by week to get to what's needed. At the moment, it seems that there are so many opportunities for the next 4 to 5 weeks to get on top of it. I'm tempted to get Antonio in for Luton and then swap in Isaac as well. I think it's a good shout. Well, as we already mentioned in this video, I think it could be the one that I could be doing. Joey Ann saying, the only thing making me hold off the wildcard is not knowing Liverpool's attack, and maybe we never will. You do. It's Salah, Diaz, and then one of Jota or Nunes. That's it. That's all it is. Arsenal, my club, are a mess, and I want to get off them ASAP. Go with your gut on Jackson. I have him, and I think he's shite. So basically, get him gone. Natasha saying, you're concerned about the state of my team and rank. Don't worry, it's like a fun marathon in which the general public participate. So I'm not really concerned. I just find it funny that someone of your high level of FPL expertise is so low down. And you will openly admit that you consume quite a few FPL content creators, and I would have thought that with that knowledge that's given to you, you'd be a lot higher. But when I look at someone like yourself or Firetalk or whatever that spend quite a bit of time looking into your teams and the research and the strategies and everything, and to be below me, you know, I just find it extraordinary, because I believe you guys should be a lot higher. Maybe you're overthinking, I don't know. But when, for instance, I'm saying as a simple example to you and Firetog, please do not have Onana in, get in the Tottenham goalkeeper, and you still go with Onana, it's, come on. I'd like to think you have a tiny, 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 tiny wince of respect of my opinion to go, do you know what, Steve could be right here. And if you did go with that simple advice, you'd be 12 points better off, or whatever the fucking points he got. What was it, 9 he got, or something like that? Point being is that you'd be a few points better off with the Tottenham goalkeeper, because now, yes, okay, you're going to play your other goalkeeper instead of Onana. I get it all, but like I've always said 1,000 times, you always never know who to play when it comes to goalkeeper rotation. It's why I cannot stand it. It's the same with any form of, whether it's defender rotation, goalkeeper rotation, etc., etc. It's horrible. Because unless by pure luck, like I had the other day with Matty Cash coming off the bench for a Kanji, you're always going to be benching points, and it's just a horrible feeling. Jason had it the other day. Cinnamon saying, if you worry about Jackson, there's always Antonio for the Operation Target Luton. And then with your 2 million in the bank, go with Jackson/Watkins the week after. Aussie Boy saying, follow your gut and get Isaac. You really seem to rate him, and fixtures looking good. Not this week. No better time to pull the trigger than on your wild card. Don't stick with Jackson out of fear. Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it, with Jackson? It is the FOMO. Lots and lots of people in the mini league have Jackson. But let's get real here. If anybody was watching that game, and like whenever I'm watching a game, I must go on Twitter 2 or 3 times. Just when there's a pause in play, I'll just quickly go on there for 2 seconds. And the amount of people, large content creators, that were basically saying Jackson is useless, Jackson is rubbish, blah, 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 blah. They were seeing what I was seeing. And then, like I said, he was there in the right place, the right time to score a goal. But I do think that potentially Antonio is the one to get this week, just to attack that West Ham fixture. But yeah, I was going to say what I was reminded about. I was speaking to Dan the other day about. So Dan sent me a voice message, and he gave me some interesting feedback. So he was on the show the other day, not with Jason, but it was the one with me and Jason. Anyway. And he was talking to an individual, I forget who it was. He was the Everton fan. And this individual was telling Dan that I don't understand. It's the usual, it's the FPL, loads of channels get this. I don't understand why this channel doesn't have X amount of subscribers, viewers, blah, 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 all this rubbish. And Dan literally in the voice message said, I know what you're going to say. And unfortunately, like with FPL Juice, like with us, like with any other independent content creator, is that people don't like when you're talking like a normal human being. People hate it. People in the world of fantasy football, in the world of modern warfare, Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone, all they want is these quick cut short videos where it's just showing you what to do. That's all they care about. Quick 15-minute video. In fact, my friend, my closest friend, he's essentially a brother to me. I sent him I put it on Twitter, but someone had done a YouTube video which was a history into the rise and fall of Ricky Gervais. Now, for whatever reason, it ends abruptly. I don't know why, it just ends. And I'm just like, oh, I was hoping for at least an extra 5 or 10 minutes on top of that. But it's 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute video. I sent my mate this, and he said it's too long for a YouTube video. It's too long for a YouTube video. And I said to him, yeah, I see what you mean, but usually for me, when it comes to YouTube videos, 40 minutes to an hour is long. So, for instance, festival vlogs, they're usually 45 minutes to an hour. and for me, it's just too long. Whereas there are some festival vlogs, like Billy Mayhem, that I've subscribed to, that they're only 25 to 30 minute long videos, and he does it in parts. So for instance, the latest one he did was Bloodstock 2023 this year, and it's like an 8-parter, and it is, don't get me wrong, I don't watch every second of it, because there's quite a lot of it which I'm just like, I don't really care, skip. Oh, this is interesting, I'll watch like 2 or 3 minutes, and then it's skip. But people don't want that. People just want quick, short cuts and all this nonsense, and I get it. And that's what the very, very, very large content creators do. Their videos are average of about 20 minutes long. That's it. People don't want this now. People don't want to hear a bloke behind the screen talking to you like this right now. They don't care. All they care about is, do I get Sterling or Maddison? Do I get Salah or not? Do I get in Onana or do I get Vicario? Should I buy Watkins, Isaac or Antonio? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That's all they care about. They don't want to hear this. Same with FPL Juice last night. Do you really think people tuning in want to hear Hindu Monkey slamming people? No. I mean, they jokingly put up a thing and it said, can we talk about FPL now, lads? All I'm thinking is, as a listener, going, I don't want to hear about FPL. Because this is from my own personal psychology, I don't really care. I'm more interested in the personalities of the individuals on the screen. Yes, when I watch Trigger Lips and he's talking about FPL, again, all it is a bloke behind a camera spilling his thought processes in front of, like I said, a camera, and recording it and just going, right, I'll send it out. If people are interested, they're interested. And I am interested. Because he's got very interesting He's got interesting thought processes. He's not going through tons of data and going, right, then this is why you should get Maddison over Sterling or Sterling over Maddison and so on and so forth. Why you should get Antonio this week, why you shouldn't be looking at Jackson. It just goes on and on and on. But that's what people want. And Dan was making a point that he, after the show that he came on, by pure coincidence, on his YouTube feed, I'm not going to name them, but a YouTube channel was recommended to him. I've never heard of them before, or never heard of what I assumed was a she. Never heard of her before. Turned out to be a bloke. And as Dan's right, I just thought, fuck it, I'll just watch this video. I'll just click on this video, see who it is. So this person's got 26,000 subscribers. Okay? Clicked on the video. After 10 seconds, I'm turning it off because I already know what to expect. I mean, I could have gone with the title alone. What was it? Gameweek 4. What was it? Gameweek 4 players to target. Words to that effect. And then literally within the opening seconds, it's, hi guys. Right then, today we're going to be talking about, I don't care. So I know what to expect. The video was clearly well edited. Bright colours. Clean voice. It's not, for me, it's just not a human, it's not real. Whereas when I watch FPL Juice, or Trigger Lips, or Planet FPL, well, I don't watch, but you know what I mean. It's real people. Just talking, that's it. I've stated a billion times with Planet FPL, I'll be blunt with you, I couldn't give a shit about their FPL stuff. In fact, I actually stop listening the second they start answering FPL questions. I'm not interested. It bores me. What I am interested, and I know there are going to be thousands, the few people that listen into this, or more specifically, the thousands of people that listen to their stuff, that do like the FPL content. I don't. But what I do like is the 45 minutes of them both going through each game. It fascinates me. especially when they start talking about their own teams, West Ham and Tottenham, because they're talking about their own personal experiences, going to the game and what they thought about their teams. It's fantastic. FPL stuff, I don't care what James thinks about Martinelli versus Saka. I literally could not give a shit. Because virtually, the only difference between James and myself is that he's got a vast amount of knowledge to him. I don't. I just go, yeah, I just prefer Saka over Martinelli because Saka's the key man to Arsenal. That is about as far as my knowledge goes. James goes a lot further into depth about it. But both our opinions always come out as the same conclusion, which is, yeah, Saka's the main man for Arsenal, go with Saka, as a simple example. It's the same with Trigger Lips banging on about the eye test. You know, he was talking the other day about what the difference between data and eye test. Data is based on the past. Eye test is based on what you see from a player. Hence why with Haaland, I do expect in the next few games him to absolutely tear someone a new one. Now, whether that means it's against Fulham or whether it means when he's playing for Norway against Algeria, he's going to tear someone a new one. It will happen. Barring the Burnley game where he got his 2 goals, barring that, but the game against, I've completely forgotten who they played in game week 2. Was it Newcastle? It was Newcastle, wasn't it? I'm sure it was. Yes, it was, Steve-O. The game against Newcastle and last week against Sheffield United, he was a very, 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 very frustrated figure. And you can tell he just wants goals, and he's fucking brilliant. I love it. Same with Salah. Salah's another one. He's a winner. He wants to win the fucking games. He wants to put his heart and soul into doing what he's doing. He wants to score. He's a selfish bastard, don't get me wrong. Haven't you just said he's going to be assisting a lot? But Salah wants to stay on the pitch all the time. Even though sometimes I think he needs a rest, but whatever. But these players, when you see it, when you see the frustration in them, you know that it's coming soon. You don't know when, and that's the hard thing to predict. Because, like I said, I saw on Twitter today an individual saying, I'm going to wait on this player because the data... Oh, fuck off. Because it was only the other fucking day that you were saying, why didn't I have this player in? And then all of a sudden this week it's, I'm going to look at the data first. You don't need to look at the fucking data. You've literally said on Twitter, you wish you had this player because they looked really, really hungry. Then get him in if you want him. If you want him, get him. If you don't want him, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with not wanting him. But don't come out with some fucking bollocks that... Well, the data, you know, as Dan says. The data says this, so don't worry about the data. Seriously, do not worry about it. Because I know what your rank is. And trust me, the data ain't fucking helping you, boy. And I'm above you. How embarrassing is that? So, I think, like I said, with the likes of Salah, Haaland, there's a big, big haul coming for them. Because you see it. You see it in their body language. And it's why you know, for me, doing these videos like this, it is, like I said, just me getting things out there and just making me reevaluate and reassess everything and going, do you know what? Maybe I am right. Maybe it is the time to bring in Antonio for Jackson. Fuck it. Maybe this is the week. And then swap him out for Isaac. To hell with it. And as I discussed in this video earlier on, you're coming out with these simple thought processes, maybe just go for it. It's like Bilal said in a lot of the members' videos, it's, your thought processes are there, mate. Why don't you just go through with it? And it's true. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Cheers everybody for watching. See you later.